Peace. I got the itis right now. After work, after dinner, itis. Uh, so I want to come on here real quick. People have been looking at me funny with this Kyle Rittenhouse case. People have been, I've been catching people off guard regarding what I think are very honest questions to be asking. A lot of uh, a lot of people claim racism, and I just don't see where the racism applies with this case. Um, some people look at organizations like the Proud Boys. The Proud Boys aren't necessarily an inherently racist organization. They're actually pro-America. They're a pro-American organization. Um, I used to think that Black Lives Matter, the organization was actually a valid organization, that they had the interests of black and brown people in mind. And then it took me a while to realize that they actually didn't. That they are a terrorist organization. Um, they were they were inspired by Marxist values, people who studied Marxist values. So I've evolved a lot over these last 1.5 to 2 years. I've learned more. And it really started with what was going on with former President Donald Trump, where I just realized that the media was playing us like a yo-yo. They were toying with our emotions. It was one night in particular where I was watching CNN and Don Lemon. I used to watch mainstream media every single night. And it was at this point where I was watching Don Lemon react to, he reacted to something that a Republican representative had said. And I could have appreciated him disagreeing with what the person had stated. But when it came back to him, he actually started to try to clown. He started to clown the statement. He wasn't being objective. He wasn't being intelligent about it. He wasn't being fair. And I grew up with bullies, and I could read right through it, and I really didn't appreciate it. I didn't appreciate him, because at that moment, I feel any of us could feel like they're speaking to us, right? I didn't appreciate how he was trying to pull the wool over my eyes, how he was insulting my intelligence. It was at that time that I stopped blindly hating on Donald Trump. It was at that time that I actually started to look more into the context of a lot of the sound bites that the media had been sharing with us in order to get us to hate Donald Trump. That's where I really started to realize that, what do they call it? It's a, what is the phrase? The media was just, they was just dragging them through the mud. They were just looking for any reason in which to add fuel to the fire of this hatred for this man. Wasn't perfect. I didn't vote for him, but I admire his honesty. There were some points that he used to make where I was ready to disagree, and I'd hear the point and I'd say, you know what? I can't contend that. One of the points in particular is when he went in front of black people while he was running, and he said, "Black people, what do you have to lose? What do you have to lose?" And I was ready to hate on him, and then I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? He's not lying. He's being honest. He's telling the truth. What do what do we have to lose? Especially foundational black people. So to bring it all back to this Kyle Rittenhouse situation right now, I don't see where the racism is. I can't find it. Um, I feel he was really just against the looting and the rioting and all of the stuff that comes with these liberal reactions to police brutality against people of color. So I feel like he was out there trying to save the democracies, trying to save America, if you will, from the threat of communism or authoritarianism. And I come to this conclusion because last summer, when the George Floyd protests were going on, the nighttime version of the protests were going on in Florida, in Boston, a friend of mine and I went out there and we saw firsthand. We saw firsthand what these Black Lives Matter protesters were doing out there, and they were doing nothing productive, nothing constructive. They were yelling, they were angry, they were cussing. My boy and I, we were putting out trash can fires because in our mind, we were just like, what purpose does this serve? And I may have to go through my archives and repost this video, the video that I took. But it didn't serve a purpose. We couldn't see it. We couldn't see the purpose. It was destruction of property. It was setting fires, chaos and confusion. Some people will ask, what was Kyle Rittenhouse doing out there? He went out there with an AR-15. He should have known better. I don't think he did know better. I think he was a confused, naive 17-year-old. He didn't know what to expect. Now you juxtapose that to my boy and myself going out to Boston. But we are much older gentlemen. We knew exactly what to expect. We knew to keep an eye and look over our shoulders. We knew when to get away from an area. We knew when we could get close to an area and so forth and so forth. We knew. We didn't need weapons because we just knew how to avoid true danger. What this trial truly is, in my opinion, is an attack on our ability to defend ourselves. Because if they can't take away our guns, they can take away potentially our ability to defend ourselves. Self-preservation should be the number one rule. And that's exactly what he did. He saved himself. The guy that got shot, the first guy that got shot, he was going to try to get, Kyle's weapon away from him and potentially use it against him. I'm not confident he was going to use it against anyone else. I'm not even confident that he was going to use it against Kyle, but I do know this. If I have my weapon on me, last thing I'm going to allow to happen is for someone to take it from me. Whether they plan on using it against me or not, I cannot allow you to take my weapon from me. And again, I just feel like he just really didn't know what he was getting himself into. Poor kid, At first, it hit me when I saw him crying on the stand. Initially, it was for me. I thought to myself, like, poor kid, because a lot of you have never shot a gun. A lot of you have never held a gun, and much less used a gun to kill a person or to kill a thing, an animal. Um, and the idea of being thrust into something like that, where he actually had to take some lives, I can imagine. I can imagine how that PTSD really presses him from time to time, and I can absolutely understand how he got overwhelmed on in the witness box, and then I got led. There were certain people who were of the opinion that no, there's no way that was fake crying and so forth, and it's I guess it is easy to look at it that way, but then I came back around and I was like, no, you know what, like that's he's not even a grown man yet. He's still a child. 18, I get it. He was 17 at the time. He was a child, and he didn't know what he was getting into. And I'm sure he was scared to death. He was out there by himself. So I don't know. These are just my observations. I think race had a lot less to do with the Rittenhouse situation than most people are playing it up to be. And this is chess, not checkers. So we have to be aware. We have to pay close attention to what is being moved and in what direction. Because I feel we're being moved in the wrong direction. I'm a proud American. I don't like this government. I'm not a fan of what this government is doing for us, how it takes care of its citizens. But I can honestly say that I'm a proud American. This is the country that I know. This is where I was born, raised, and where I'm raising my children. I know that racism is a thing. It absolutely is. I don't deny it. I don't deny the history nor the legacy of racism. But racism hasn't prevented me from achieving everything that I've achieved in my life. Opened a barbershop, was able to go to school, was able to look for opportunities, was able to recently go to some training. Now I have a job where, you know, as the years go by, I'll be making more and more money. So racism hasn't kept me from those opportunities. But racism is a real thing. It still exists among some people. But I would like for people to just take a deep breath and really think about this situation, really think about these chess moves, these chess players. Think about potential. Think about how the machine that is think about how division, the machine that is division, how it's being fed, what's being used to feed it. Um, and yeah, I mean, I hope, I will that I will that no violence comes of this. But right now, this country is being torn apart at the seams, and it's going to take cooler heads to prevail to prevent it from coming apart completely. It's been prophesized, so I don't know if it's too late or not. But in the meantime, it'd be nice for us to maintain and hold on to some semblance of normalcy, right? Normalcy. There's no such thing as normalcy anymore, right? Either way, you know, not sure how to feel either way. Part of me feels like he's being used. I have suspicions of what for, but then again I don't. But I'll leave that up to you. I'll leave those questions up to you. Can you ask yourselves those questions? Can you challenge yourselves? I've presented some arguments, and whether you agree or not, that's cool. That's fine. That's what's one of the great things about this country. We can agree to disagree. It doesn't have to be violent or anything like that. Um, but we'll see what happens. All right? Be safe. Peace to the human family. Talk to y'all later.